Hey everyone. I wanted to take a second before today's episode with the one and only Kyla Pratt to send love, honor, and talk about an incredible person that both Kyla and I worked with named Leslie Jordan, who passed away suddenly not too long ago actually 4 days ago from me recording this. And I just wanted to make space for that because when Kyla and I spoke, he was still in the world with us. He was still giving his love and his joy. He was a 4'11" giant. He was an icon for the queer community. And he was an icon for so many who wanted to live their full selves without apology. And so, Leslie, I love you as you move from this mortal world to that next world and you come back to us. I am grateful for all the love you put into the world. And thank you. Let's get on with it. What is a proud family?
A proud family to me can be basically any type of pride in your family in any type of way. I know watching The Proud Family, I'm proud of that family just because we discuss so many things that people don't often discuss.
Does this voice sound familiar to you? If you're thinking Penny Proud from The Proud Family, well, then you are absolutely right.
If you're not a winner, you better go home. 'Cause I'm Penny Proud, I'm cute and I'm loud and I got it going on.
See? But for real, this is my homie, Kyla Pratt, also known as KP. KP was just a teenager when she first voiced Penny Proud. Today, she's a mother of two and still thriving in Hollywood.
I'm proud of my family because we are living our full lives and we are not letting anything hold us back. And if anybody is letting anything hold us back, we got each other's back and we let each other know and call each other out. Like, you're holding you back, let's go. You're capable of anything, you got this.
Kyla began acting at only 8 years old. And she has been on some of the most iconic TV shows out there. I'm talking Friends, Family Matters, Moesha, Sister, and even Lizzie McGuire. Some of the shows she's been on have been groundbreaking for Black and brown communities. Today, KP is going to talk to us about growing up in an industry that could make or break you, why representation matters, and what she thinks about her own daughter's interest in professional acting. My name is Christopher Rivas, and this is Brown Enough. Stories between black and white. Here we go, y'all. I met KP on the set of Call Me Kat in 2020. And when the cameras were off, we were always chopping it up. We played spades together, and I will not embarrass her by telling you how those games turned out. Spending time with her and Julian Gant, another star of the show, made time go by faster on set, and we always had a great time. Normally, I ask my guests to introduce themselves at the start of our conversation, but when I sat down with KP, I had something I had to get off my chest right away. KP.
What's
I got
good?
this troll.
You have a troll?
This dude is bothering me, man.
About what?
Hating on just a hater. In all the good stuff, like if one person, and I've had this in my work. You know, my work is a little controversial sometimes.
Yes, because it's the truth.
I'll really pay attention to that one. It can
we
bother me.
all do that though.
You do that? That's
Yes.
You ain't got no tips.
No, we all do that. I mean, my only thing would be to tell you that I experienced that as well, so you don't feel alone in that. And then recognizing that, like, even on an Instagram post, luckily I get a lot of positive energy that comes my way. But every once in a while, I get a new follower or somebody new that just wants to talk shit, and I'm like,
the worst.
But I focus in on that person, and I get so upset, and I want to cuss them out. But then I'm like, Kyla, you're not taking the time to thank all these people who are saying positive things to you. Why are you believing and want to argue with the person that is saying the negative? Why not embrace the people who are saying the positive? Don't give that person any energy. And when I don't give them any energy, they end up going away, or somebody on my page starts to cuss them out for me, and I'd be like, oh, see, it's over.
That's it. Don't give him energy. And
Don't give him
give
any.
energy.
You
I'm
can't.
like, oof.
You can't, because it's like I was reading something earlier and it was talking about, it was a story about it was like another animal, and it was arguing with a donkey, and the donkey was saying like, oh, the grass is blue. And you're like, what? The grass is green. And they're like, you know what? Let's go to the king of the jungle. We're going to ask the king, what this is. The donkey runs in and the donkey's like, King, the grass is blue and he's arguing with me and blah, blah, blah. And the lion's like, hey, you're right. Other animal, like, you're being punished for 5 years to silence. And then the other animal goes to the lion and he's like, why are you punishing me? The grass is green. He said, you're being punished because you took the time to argue with a donkey.
Oof.
You took the time to argue with a donkey who only wants they're like, they don't want to learn nothing. They don't want to learn anything. They just want to be irritating and they want their self to be right. And so that's like, I literally just read, I think my mom posted it on Facebook or something. I literally read that this morning and it reminded me like, don't argue. It's like flies, like, what do they say? Bees don't spend all day telling flies, like, that honey is better than shit.
Yeah.
Like, because we're wasting our time. So
I'm out here wanting to be like, insert name, you a donkey.
You a donkey.
You a donkey.
You a
and I ain't got
donkey.
time
Why
for you.
do I have to give you my energy? Because obviously whatever I'm doing is giving you some type of emotion, some type of feeling, and you're going to fight it until you don't want to fight it anymore. And what's the point of me arguing with you?
I read a book by Susan Sontag. I think it's in her book Hope. And she said, we come from needing to survive. Like, we come from jungle, creatures, fire, food. And when you look at a beautiful landscape and you see a tiger in the tree, you don't see the beautiful landscape, you see tiger. Like, you see the thing that's threatening your survival.
Right.
So you can have all these beautiful messages of hope and love and thank you and gratitude, but there's one tiger. But in this case, one donkey acting like they're a tiger.
I feel like every time I see you, like, look, I read this book, and I'll be like, damn, Chris is the most book readingest, because me, it's like I've always loved, like, I'm a book lover. I'll buy books, and then I'll start them, and then a script will come. And then I'll be like, oh, wait, I got to put this to the side. I got to read a script. A job will come. Oh, wait, I got to put this to the side. And so I've never, like, it takes me so long to finish something. And when we were working together, you always had like this like major, like intelligent, like fat ass, like, I'm like, Chris, how are you reading that? And you're like, I'm just, I'm writing my book right now. I'm working on my podcast and I'm reading this book. And you know what? I'm just going to go away for the weekend and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I need to learn from this man.
I did so much work while I was there.
Oh my gosh, all the time. And every time you had to leave us to do work, we felt disrespected. I was like, Chris, what do you mean you're going to your room to do work? Like, come hang out with us.
If I wasn't hanging out with them, it's because I was writing my book, which I hope y'all have a copy of by now. It's the same title of this podcast, Brown Enough. And if you don't have a copy, I suggest you hit pause because you're probably in your car and you go find you a Barnes & Nobles. Again, if you don't have a copy, it's worth the read. I suggest y'all check it right after this. Now, I may have a lot of projects under my belt, but that doesn't even come close to KP's long resume. She is a pro and a legend, and it all started at home.
My mother was an actress growing up, so I grew up watching her do plays in LA, and she was a single mom, and seeing her on stage was an amazing experience. My first job was probably doing extra work in one of her scenes, and by chance, my grandmother was on a plane just bragging about her grandchildren, and just so happened to be bragging to a woman who had a modeling showcase and asked if I wanted to be in the modeling showcase. And I said, sure, I want to be like my mom. And my first modeling showcase is where I met a team of agents and managers that I was with for about 2 decades.
2 decades.
Yeah. I'm older than I look.
And you loved it. Why?
I loved it. First of all, I think I got to do something that my mom was doing. And so that was exciting for me. I think also because I got to be different people. I think as a kid, especially growing up in my house, it's like, respect your elders, listen. It wasn't always like just be goofy and run around and be yourself. So I think looking back on it, I think being able to play like the little sassy girl who can talk mess without getting in trouble was was fun for me.
I love basketball. And one of the earliest memories I have of KP on screen was this Nike commercial she did with the WNBA. Y'all, she played this little sassy girl she was just talking about. Here's a clip of her glancing up at Lisa Leslie.
You're Lisa Leslie, center, LA Sparks.
Yeah.
New York is gonna shut you down. Unless.
New York's gonna what?
I said unless.
Now, that's someone you don't want to mess with. You have worked with everyone. I mean, really, if you look up KP's resume, it's everyone. It's like you have worked with most of like Black royalty in Hollywood. But who did you look up to, and who'd you work with, or who still haven't you worked with that you want to work with?
Oh, I want to say the first person that I remember working with that like had a name that meant a lot to me was Eddie Murphy. I didn't realize it at the time. To me, he was like another actor and he was cool. But watching him on set was like, I didn't have to hear what he said. I watched what he did. I learned from what he did. We had so much fun on set, but then when it was time to work, I knew it was time to work. Nobody had to say, be quiet, it's time to work. It was like, oh no, I get to enjoy myself, have jokes in between. And then when it's time to work, all right, get to it. And even seeing him over the years, just his energy, just as a person, has been amazing. So just to know somebody who's on that level of being a legend and them being able to maintain just the essence of who they really are, and to be able to give that to people and young kids without even realize that that's what they're doing is amazing. The first person who pops into my head when I think about people I haven't worked with, I would say Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett is amazing in every single way, and I hope one day I get to share some type of anything with her on the screen.
There's a lot of recent discussion about the ethics surrounding child actors. And you are one of the more notable child actors. And I don't know many child actors, but you seem very sane and capable and wonderful to me. How'd you stay grounded? And you knew a lot of child actors.
Yeah. So well, thank you, because you really know me. So it's nice to think that you think I'm sane.
So what's the trick, or what's the difference?
I'm not sure what the trick is. I know that I always sit back and I always try to send love to all the child actors out there who did not really have it as easy as I did. I know that sounds weird to say, because, what I experienced wasn't easy at all. But I think I had a mother who was like, hey, you're an actress. This is an extracurricular activity. I wasn't, put on a pedestal. It was like, hey, this is something you get to do after school if you have good grades. You get to go play. You get to go do acting classes. You get to pretend to be other people. So I never really thought about like, from a financial standpoint as a kid, I never thought about like, ooh, people are watching me and they're looking at me and I'm amazing. I never really expected attention from people. It was just like, this is fun. And I think because my family still treated me like just Kyla, I think that's something that never got in the way, where I've seen child actors where I've been on set as an adult where I've had to tell a child actor, like, don't talk to your mama like that. Not in front of me. Like, I don't care if she lets you talk to her crazy. Please do that over there, because I can't comprehend what's going on here, or something was mentioned on a financial thing of like, oh, I'm getting paid this much money for this. And I'm like, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to create. We're here to have fun. And I just think a lot of people, I've also been really good with being able to weed out certain energies. I'm really big on making sure I keep the right people around me, and trusting is not an easy thing that happens. For me in general, my first TV show was 8 years old when it aired, and I remember going to school and the school surrounded me and so excited that I was on TV. And at first I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then literally seconds later, I was like, wait a second. These people weren't talking to me yesterday. And this was me at 8 years old, being like, nah, wait a minute. And ever since then, guard went up.
Donkeys.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, they were very nice donkeys. But no, it just made me realize, like, I have to watch, because I want somebody who wants to be around me for me, not for what I can do with them or bringing them attention. So I kind of do that still in my everyday life,
Do y'all remember UPN? It was on Channel 9 here in New York, and KP was on one of their shows called One-on-One. The show has been highlighted as a groundbreaking portrayal of Black fatherhood. KP played Brianna Latrice Barnes, the daughter of a single dad who was a sportscaster. The father was played by comedian Flex Alexander.
Sweetie, Daddy needs some privacy.
Brianna needs a 20.
Did you recognize at the time that you were in such impactful shows for brown and Black youth?
I did not. I didn't recognize at the time. I didn't recognize it until I got older. At the time, like I said, I was just having fun. I've been very fortunate and blessed to be put in so many different iconic shows and films, and you would think that was planned, but not on my end. It wasn't planned by me or my mom. No, I didn't recognize it. As a kid doing The Proud Family, I didn't realize that wasn't on TV yet. And while I was filming it, it didn't seem abnormal to me because I'm like, this is what a family acts like. What are y'all? This is normal. Because I come from that kind of family. Doing One-on-One was, different for me just because I grew up super close to my mom. I didn't grow up close to my dad until I was in my adult years is when we started to get cool. So that was a different energy, a different feeling. But I literally was just enjoying myself and still allowed to be a kid at the same time. I didn't feel anything on my shoulders. I didn't feel any pressure, which I think I would have if I would have thought about it deeper.
If you were like, oh, this is for the whole culture.
Right. If I was like, this is for the culture, this is intense, and I have to make sure it's right, I probably would have driven myself a little crazy, like being a young girl. During both of those projects, I was like 14 years old, So after I went to work, I'm like, can I go to homecoming? Can I go with my friends? Can we go to the little taco shop and eat? Like, I just want to hang out, So like I said, I was the girl who was like, I want to kick it, but I get to go to work sometimes. And like, I didn't recognize that people were even watching the show until I think One-on-One season 2, we got like our Jet magazine cover, and they were like the most watched Black sitcom. And I was like, oh, damn, people are watching this? That's crazy. And then even after that, it was still like, okay, can I go to prom? Like, I was just enjoying myself. I was having fun. To me, it was like I was very fortunate to be able to play pretend and get to be with cool people who make TV happen.
The show got a revival this year. KP got to revisit her role as Penny Proud again over 10 years later. And this time, more louder and prouder. How much of Penny Proud is you?
A lot of Penny Proud is me. I filmed this cartoon growing up, so I feel like I put a lot of me into her, and then she became a lot of me, which is great because I've always been that stand up for others, stand up for yourself. We always related to each other in so many ways. When I was younger, it was more, oh, dang, I don't want to babysit my brothers and sisters either. But a lot of her is me. And that's why now it's like I can't, like people are like, oh, you're doing the reboot? And I'm like, wait, what? Who else is going to do Penny? Like, don't mess with me. Don't
And she's
play.
a bit grown up.
Yes. They have her in high school now.
And you've grown up, so.
I've grown up a little bit. And that's the amazing thing. Like, as an artist, a lot of people don't get to revisit a character that they played 20 years ago to see how much they've grown and to see how much I'm more comfortable in my voice now. And when I was younger, I didn't like my voice. I was like, I'm going to get fired. My voice is so weird. Like, why am I on this? And I'd like to tell people that because a lot of people love my voice, and I'm like, what? Like, I hear it back, and I'm like, what? But something you may not like about you and a stranger could love, And now doing more voiceovers and being able to change my voice and work on different characters and doing improv and being silly, now I'm a grown-up, so I'm a little more comfortable in trying different stuff and a little more what's it called? Solid mentally.
Has Penny taught you anything?
Penny has taught me, I don't know if Penny's taught me anything because I really feel like we're the same person. Like, I really feel like everything that Penny has gone through, I've been like, yeah, that's right. Like Brianna Barnes on One-on-One, there's certain things that she went through where I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Kids really act like this because my personality was completely different. She was like getting made fun of for like being a virgin or something. And I was sitting back like, And like, this is really a storyline? Like, what are you guys talking about? There's nothing wrong with that, you know? So I feel like Penny Proud has always stood up for people and been loud as hell. So that, you know, she's just me.
If listening to this is making you nostalgic for the Proud family, you can find all the episodes on Disney+. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, KP is going to tell us all about raising two talented girls who want to be stars just like their mama. Stay with us. And we are back with Kyla Pratt. Kyla and her partner, Danny Kirkpatrick, have been together since 2005. They have two incredible daughters together, Lyric and Leah. Your mama is someone you looked up to because she acted. I know y'all are tight. You're a mama now. You have two incredible young girls, women, young women.
Babies. Thank you.
I think multiple things. They want to be performers.
Yes.
Like mama.
Yeah.
Yay, no, yay, do your thing, what?
Their father and I have had plenty of conversations about it. Because I started off not wanting it, and not necessarily because of anything that I went through. I enjoyed my childhood. I feel like I still got to have one. I think it was like a thing of like just wanting your kids to do something better than what you've done. And but KP, the other KP, their father has always told me, he's like, we're artists. Like, they're watching us. They're watching everything that we do. Like, how can you expect them to want to do anything else? And literally any art that I don't do, he does everything else, from music to writing to painting to like physically drawing, like an artiste. And so I kind of sat back and was like, you know what? I can't control what my kids are going to want to do. And all I can do is support them. And while they're children, I'm just going to have their backs while they venture off into auditioning. And I feel like that's what my mom did for me. And that's why I'm still here today, is because I had an adult that had my back and didn't make me feel like I was being forced to do something. And so I'm going to let them audition, let them get a little work in. Hopefully we can just stack up those, what's it called? The Coogan accounts. But when they turn 18, you know, and then if they want to continue when they get older, they have my blessing and they will still have my support and I will still have their back. And if they want to do something else, then that'll be what it is too.
As a mom now, who was a literal icon for representation, and it still is, because, you know, as long as the scales are what they are, we still need the representation. Yeah. What we know, it matters, but do you have any words for mothers out there, fathers, families? Like, why does representation matter for your kids?
Representation matters in so many ways. And to me, the main reason is so people watching don't feel alone. Mentally, a lot of people go through things because they feel alone, they feel unseen, they feel abandoned. And I believe if you watch something that shows any type of representation of you, it helps you feel seen in some kind of way. It helps you feel not by yourself. And hey, brown enough, okay? And that's literally like what the world needs. I was talking to my homegirl about your book, and she's just like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. You know, being a Latin girl from LA who's like, wait, what? Like something that I can be a part of, you know, like something that I can relate to. And just me reading it, I loved the setup when you talked about your family and the building that you lived in, because I never got to experience that. We moved around a lot. So I didn't get to experience that. So I didn't feel represented in that, but I was able to be like, ooh, I wish I had something like that. That was amazing. So it gives you a good, warm feeling of like, ooh, that's so cool. And all these different people in the building. I also loved Don't Hate Me Because I Date White Women. Like that was hilarious because you talked about so many things. Like I wasn't Latin enough for this group. I wasn't this enough for that group. But hey, for the white girls, I was the bee's knees, you know? Like it makes so much sense. And a lot of times in different cultures, you're like frowned upon where it's like, wait, I'm just living, you know what I'm saying? But things like your book and like this podcast and just you in general putting yourself out there to deal with the donkeys, which a lot of people won't do because it's scary, is going to be so inspirational for anybody who looks like you, talks like you, comes for you from where you come from, has an idea of a family thinking negatively about being called Black. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things in representation. I also had a conversation with someone about some Proud Family episodes because some of our episodes are a little risque. And we even have same-sex parents in our series this year. And I had a talk with this young man when I was in DC, and he was like, oh man, I can't have my daughter watching that though. Like, what's up? And I'm like, how old's your daughter? And he was like, oh, she 2. And I'm like, she 2? Bruh. I'm like, sir. No, but I told him, I said, even if she's older, you know, it starts a conversation that a lot of parents don't want to have with their children. And to me, that's part of the problem is parents who are afraid to have conversations with their kids. And then your kids go out and try to learn from other people because you're uncomfortable having the conversation with them. These things, these different people, these different religions, everything is out in the world and your kid is going to see it. So why not have the conversation start at home to what's going on? And as long as you like stop acting like it's not there, like I feel like that's what TV was back in the day. We only had the representation of like, you know, the blonde, bubbly Caucasian girl. And that was what we're supposed to want to look like and supposed to be. Or, you know, the very strong Caucasian man who's the hero and everything. Like you talk about so much. It's like that's who we're supposed to want to be. But that was like them trying to keep the world in a box. And we're not. We're a melting pot out here. And if we don't have representation, all we're doing is repeating what was happening years ago. We're trying to tell the world like, no, there's only one way to be. There's only one person that you're supposed to be like. And if you're not this, then I don't know what to tell you. And that's why so many people grow up feeling alone, you know?
I think you sort of said this because you did it by your own example. But is there anything more specific you want to say, and you don't have to a parent whose kid wants to be in the entertainment industry?
To a parent whose kid wants to be in the entertainment industry, allow your kid to feed that feeling. Allow them to explore and experiment with the industry. I would say let them do acting classes, plays, but also recognize that it's not a job where you can just say, okay, go ahead, there you go. This is a hands-on situation for a parent. Even my daughter's auditioning. I'm like, wait, what do we have to do now? It's a lot. It's a lot to take on, but it's worth it because you have to be there. You have to have your kids back no matter what. Be open to learning more about the industry and learning how things move and how they go, and just be encouraging. Don't be over judgy when it comes to the work that they're doing. I mean, help them become better, but allow them to experience.
How do you do that? You're so talented. Be honest. Be honest. How do you do it?
How do you do what?
Like, you're so good and you could probably line read, but they probably can't mimic. You know, like you could probably tell them exactly how to say it, but they can't mimic it. So what do you do? It's
crazy because I used to be like, oh, my mom was so hard on me doing certain stuff. And then now that I'm like helping my daughter audition for having a script, I'm like, baby, stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. You got to feel like it. And so I'm
you
basically.
Do that.
Yeah, I do. I realize that with what I do, I love what I do, and I don't like half-assing anything. And it's hard for me to respect any actor that I see that half-asses anything, I mean, I won't speak publicly about it, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, what happened? So when it comes to my kids, I'm going to be the ultimate coach. You know what I'm saying? But I also try to give it with love to make sure that they're not looking at me like I'm crazy in a couple years. Like, Mom, you're nuts.
Are they good at receiving it? Because my dad could not coach me in basketball. I just couldn't receive it. It made me so angry.
I feel like they are good at receiving it, but I also feel like if I'm overworked and stressed and then trying to come home and do an audition with my kid, I know that I'm going to put that energy onto them, so I'll let someone else help at that point. And so I think they can receive it sometimes, but then sometimes I'm trying to back up because I know that I'm not in a great
fall back.
Fall back. I'm not in a great position to give what I need to give. I also am. That's why self-tapes are hard for me, because I'll do a self-tape literally for 3 hours because I'm like, oh, didn't like that moment. Go back for myself personally. So for my kids, I'm like, Kyla, don't be that person. And so I stop myself and say, this is good. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, oh, I don't like how she looked this way. Why'd she do this? And when you were saying this, what were you feeling? What were you thinking? I'll be like, no, we got it. Like, I don't want to overdo it. I still want it to be something that is fun because it was always fun for me.
What's next for you in your career?
What's next for me?
I hope you say something that I'm thinking of.
What's next for me? I actually went through something recently where I was just like, I had a spark where I was like, you know what? I'm limiting myself and I don't want to do that anymore. So right now I'm low-key shadowing directors. And I'm stepping into that. And I didn't want to at first. I've always made the joke of directors have to deal with crazy actors and crazy producers. I don't want to be in the middle of that. But, realizing that I know so much because I'm always watching everything and everybody. And
she directed me in a few self-tapes. It's true.
That was, oh my gosh, we used to have so much fun. Chris would have a self-tape. And he'd be like, hey, can you guys read it? I think those moments are kind of the moments where I was like, oh no, I can absolutely do this directing thing. Because I was able to do it. I was able to have fun and I was able to, because we're friends. I feel like we give each other real advice and we're going to tell each other the real thing instead of just sugarcoating anything. And that's a scary thing for me thinking as a director, because I try to work on not hurting anyone's feelings. That's something that I really don't like to do. But when it comes to that process, it was easy for me to be like, all right, Chris, remember this part right here, blah, blah, blah. You said you wanted to do this and you did that. But I think the other one is a great choice. And you're like, bet, And even being on set with each other and us being able to give each other notes and talk about things, I think it made me more confident, and no, I can definitely do it.
I think you have a very grounded ego, meaning so you're on these wildly successful shows and you never got caught up in the hype. And I'm sure you worked with people who did.
Yeah.
So for people listening who maybe are in some sort of field that involves hype, what's the difference? What gets someone swept up into the hype, that makes their ego bigger than them, and what keeps it I just want to be around good people?
It's difficult because a lot of people, I get people all the time who are like, hey, I want to be an actress. What is your advice? And I'm like, you have to love this shit. You can't just want to be famous. This is hard work. This is hard work. You have constant rejection over and over and over and over and over. And you have to constantly question yourself, what did I do? Was it me? Or is my hair wrong? Or did I say the wrong thing? Or, this is the type of industry where I'm sure you have rejection in a lot of different industries, but this one is
not like this.
Not like this. This shit hurts.
My homie said to me, he said he applied for a job and the job kind of ghosted him. And I was like, bro, welcome to my life. I get ghosted all the time.
We get ghosted after studying 12 pages of dialogue and now setting up your own Zooms and lighting.
We get ghosted after 3 good dates.
Man, it's in it and you never know. And for anyone, it's you can't get caught up in the hype because all that's going to do is mess with you later on. There's going to be ups and downs in everything that you're ever going to do. And if you think it's going to constantly be up, you're setting yourself up to feel like shit. Like, I literally now have to sit back and be like, hey, it's all good. I have to look at stuff and be like, you know what? I have to look at this. This is a job. Let me go in. Let me perform. I'm not going to stop performing as much because I'm taking away a little of my emotion from it. But it becomes overwhelming if you get to it. Like somebody be like, oh, what character do you want to play? I'm like, bruh, I don't even want to tell you. Because if I audition for it, I'm going to feel some type of way that I didn't get it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I had to learn, like, what's meant for me is meant for me. And that's it. And if I don't get this project or I'm not a part of this anymore, like, something bigger and better is coming. And I'm one of those people, like, I don't, like, thank you for the grounded ego compliment. Because a lot of times.
I can't say no ego, you know?
Yeah, no.
Like,
oh, yeah, no.
We all got one.
Right, we all, yeah. So that's why I've never heard that. That's why I'm like, ooh, thank you. But I know, like, even in the industry that we're in, I have to sit back and be like, I love what I do, but I want to be respected at the same time. And I think when people get caught up, they forget why they're doing it. And we're supposed to be doing it because we love it, because we love the process and we love creating. And, you know, if recognition comes with it, then cool. But I actually like my life. Like, I like to be able to go places, and most of the time people aren't worried about me, you know? And then sometimes I go places and I get a handful of people who, you know, they speak or they, you know, shake my hand or say hi or, you know, they enjoy my work. And that's just a bonus, you know what I'm saying? But I have to do it for me, not for any type of recognition or outside love, because that outside love can stop whenever it feels like it. And if I'm basing everything off of that, I'm screwed.
Moral of the story is to stay humble, y'all. Treat everyone with respect, just like you would want to be treated. KP has stood her ground over and over again in the many years that she's been in Hollywood, and she hasn't let this industry break her. All right, y'all. Before we wrap up today, I want to share a new little segment. It's called Fun Facts, because I'm always learning something new that I want to share with someone, and my producers got really annoyed by me telling them, so they thought we should share it with y'all too. I shared this week's fun fact with Kyla because it was related to our convo. So here it is. Fun fact about pride. So I have this tattoo, this little lion on my wrist. Everyone thinks it's because I'm a Leo, which is true. That I was watching,
but of course it's deeper because it's you, Chris.
Yeah. I was watching this documentary about cats, about big cats. I literally think it's called Cats on PBS. It's a 3-part series. And cats are solitary animals. This is how they spread across the world so fast. They live alone and they travel alone, except for the lion. The lion has a pride, right? And as someone who, you know, battles with pride, I was like, oh, what a beautiful way to look at pride. That the reason they're the king of the jungle is because they chose not to be alone, but to work with their pride, with their family, to be proud.
I love that.
You know, and so community and family is pride. And that's what keeps us strong.
I love that.
Fun fact. I very much look forward to working with KP again on a set. Love you, Kyla. But in the meantime, I got a game of spades to win. Next time on Brown Enough, we're talking to journalist and cartoonist Malika Gharib. Until next time, peace and love, y'all. Brown Enough is a production of Stitcher. It's created and hosted by me, Christopher Rivas, and I'm also an executive producer. Our team includes producer Manolo Morales, senior producer Abigail Keel, technical director Casey Holford, production assistant Gabrielle Gladney, and executive producer Camille Stanley. Original music by Casey Holford. Workhouse Media is a contributing producer to this podcast. Carlos E. Hernandez of Ikigai Management is also an executive producer of Brown Enough. And don't forget to subscribe, y'all, or follow Brown Enough so you never miss an episode. And if you got a minute, leave us a review. A nice one. It goes a long way. Thanks.
Witness Docs from Stitcher.